However, thus large water bodies like oceans, seas, and lakes, rivers, etc., were formed. Now, oceans and lakes became rich in salts by dissolving large amount of earthly compounds such as ammonia, methane, hydrogen cyanide, nitrites, carbides, various gases and elements. Methane was probably the first organic compound, and hydrogen cyanide was formed later. The high concentration of these simple organic compounds in seawater induced them to react with each other and produce some unsaturated hydrocarbons like ethylene, acetylene, aldehyde, ketones, alcohols, and organic acids. And the metal carbides reacted with steam, such as CaC2, that means calcium carbide, plus H2O, means steam, equal to acetylene, C2H2 plus CaO. As a result of further interaction of these saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons, some simple organic compounds such as simple sugars like glucose, ribose, deoxyribose, etc., nitrogenous bases like purines, that is adenine, guanine, and pyrimidines, that is thymine and uracil, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerols, etc., were formed. The energy required for these reactions came from solar radiations like ultraviolet light, UV rays, cosmic rays, and X rays, etc. Electrical discharge from lightning and high energy radiations, that means radiations from radioactive unstable isotopes on primitive Earth. Now, water body is changed into a broth or primordial soup. Thus, the abiogenetic origin of life or physico-chemical evolution or naturalistic theory, as hypothesized by A.I. Oparin and supported by Sir J.B.S. Erlen, came to be known to the scientific world, but it should be supported by experiments. In 1953, Miller built an apparatus of glass tubes and flasks in the laboratory. I am giving you the figure of the apparatus. Miller created an atmosphere containing hydrogen, ammonia, methane, and water vapors in one big flask and allowed condensed liquid to accumulate in another small flask. The ratio of methane, ammonia, and hydrogen in large flask was 2:1:2. Energy to apparatus was supplied by heating the liquid as well as by electric sparks from tungsten electrodes in the gaseous flask, that is the larger flask. The condition of apparatus resembled the atmosphere present on the early Earth, primitive Earth. The experiment was conducted continuously for about 1 week and then analyzed the chemical composition of the liquid inside the apparatus. After continuous heating, cooling, circulation, and electrical discharge in an airtight apparatus containing methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water vapor gases, Miller obtained an acid turbid red liquid. What a surprise! These gases made reactions with one another and formed an acidic turbid red liquid. This turbid liquid was rich by having simple organic compounds like urea, hydrogen cyanide, organic acids means examples of formic acid, acetic acid, lactic acid, succinic acid, propionic acid, etc. Sugars, purines, pyrimidines, and amino acids, that is alanine, glycine, and aspartic acid. The detail of some products formed under prebiotic condition will be given for you in a chart. And then came the experiment of Dr. Hargobind Khorana. He used the experiment for artificial synthesis of a gene in laboratory. That is the evidence that the first nucleic acid would have polymerized from simple organic compounds such as sugar, nitrogen bases, and inorganic phosphates. Like Miller and Fox, Melvin Kelvin also produced complex organic compounds and amino acids from simple organic and inorganic compounds. By the polymerization of simple organic compounds, larger organic molecules were formed in the primitive atmosphere. Amino acids polymerized into peptides and polypeptides, sugar into polysaccharides, and glycerol and fatty acids into fat. Nucleotides were formed by the combination of nitrogenous bases, sugar, and phosphate. All of these reactions were taken place without enzymes. There was no requirement of enzymes, ribosomes, and any cell components. A number of hydrocarbons, purines, pyrimidine bases, fatty acids, sugars, and other organic compounds accumulated in the primitive seas, like the experiment done by Miller. In the primitive atmosphere, scientists say that energy for polymerization might have provided by electrical discharge. I told you before that the atmosphere of the primitive earth was not calm as it is today. It was a stormy atmosphere full of with frequent lightning and heavy solar radiation because and cosmic radiations reaching into the Earth's surface, because no ozone layer was formed till then, and you know that the ozone layer restricts the entry of the cosmic rays and other rays which are injurious to the health of the organisms. And as the ozone layer was not formed at that time, there was nothing to prevent those rays, cosmic rays or UV rays, etc., from reaching the Earth's crust. So the energy for these chemical reactions came from electrical discharges, lightning, solar energy, and cosmic energy, cosmic rays, ATP, and phosphate. By that time ATP was formed, and nucleic acids, DNA or RNA, most scientists say that it was RNA, formed by the polymerization of nucleotides, enzymes, coenzymes, porphyrin molecules came into existence. So the first world was protein world, some say the first a group of scientists they focus on protein as the first molecule in the primitive earth. They argue that without enzymes nothing could replicate at all, heritable or not. They are of the view that the nucleotide is a very complex molecule, therefore it cannot be formed spontaneously. But the other group of scientists who focus on RNA as the first molecule, they feel that without a hereditary molecule, other molecules could not have formed consistently. This view is supported by the discovery of ribozyme, a catalytic RNA molecule which have ability to act like enzyme. And then comes the question of formation of coacervates. So the biological evolution formed with the formation of coacervates, the large organic molecules synthesized abiotically on the primitive earth. They were the precursor of colloidal aggregates formed as a result of intermolecular attraction. These colloidal particles were called coacervates by Oparin, and Sidney Fox termed them as microspheres. When oppositely charged colloids, that is, example gum, arabica, gelatin, etc., when they are oppositely charged colloids, when they are mixed, coacervate droplets are formed. These coacervate droplets represent open systems that keep accumulating materials from their environment. In coacervates, lipid molecules were joined end to end, forming a layer around each aggregate which represents a simple lipid membrane. These could selectively absorb proteins and other materials from the surroundings and grow in their size and complexity. Coacervates could even divide by budding like bacteria. Thus, more complex microspheres and coacervates functioned as pre-cells or prebionts. The salient features of microspheres are that microspheres are easily formed when water is added to thermal proteinoids. These are stable and exhibit great uniformity in size and shape. Microspheres reveal a double-layered boundary corresponding to cell membrane, and they have non-random motility. They retain enzyme-like activities of proteinoids and show division by binary fission or budding. The coacervates, they were formed from the mixture of contemporary bioproteins, and these are unstable compounds which disintegrate with time. According to Oparin, various macromolecules aggregated in the hot dilute soup to form coacervates, which got separated from the surrounding by the formation of polarized membrane of phospholipids and appeared as soap-like bubble having surface membrane and aggregation of self-replicating RNA or DNA and protein molecules. The coacervates with nucleoproteins were first living cell or protocell. These protocells in the ancient ocean represented the beginning of life. Protocells or protobionts were similar to the present day mycoplasma and virus. These were heterotrophs, obtaining energy and nutrients from the organic molecules. The oldest fossil cells were similar to heterotrophic bacteria. The protobionts most probably gave rise to Monera. Monera are cells without a well-defined nucleus. Monera gave rise to prokaryotes like bacteria and cyanobacteria. The fossils of such primitive protobiont, that is Eubacterium isolatum, have been obtained from the rocks in Africa, about 3 billion years old. The first prokaryotic unicells had naked DNA, protein manufacturing machinery, that is protoribosomes, mode of energy liberation and its utilization. The first prokaryotes were anaerobes and chemoheterotrophs, which observed organic molecules from the outside for bodybuilding and energy requirement. These chemoheterotrophs absorbed organic molecules from outside their body for building their body and for meeting their energy requirement. And there is a theory as to the origin of eukaryotes. The endosymbiotic evolution of these protobionts into eukaryotes. Anaerobic prokaryotic cell engulfs anaerobic bacterium. The bacterium is enclosed in a sac of predatory cell's membrane. The resulting protoorganelle has a double membrane, one from the predator which engulfs the bacteria and the other from the prey. That means the bacterium that is engulfed. Thus, mitochondria were formed. The engulfed bacterium multiplies, its descendants evolved into mitochondria. And the mitochondrion containing cell engulfs a photosynthetic cyanobacterium, forming another double membrane organelle. The cyanobacterium's descendants evolved into chloroplasts. That means cyanobacteria took shelter in the primitive cells, and thus the primitive cell became able to form glucose. That is, they became autotrophs, and the primitive cell that engulfed a bacterium which can multiply in the host cell and which is able to organize the respiratory reactions. That is the aerobic bacterium that has taken shelter into the primitive cells, and thus mitochondria came into being. And this is the endosymbiotic evolution. Actually, mitochondria and chloroplasts are double membrane bound cell organelles. The inner membrane probably evolved from the plasma membrane of the engulfed bacterium, and the outer membrane from the plasma membrane or endoplasmic reticulum of the host cell. Cristae of mitochondria resemble the folded membranes in various groups of bacteria, almost similar size of mitochondria and bacteria and their ribosomes. Both mitochondria and chloroplast have circular DNA similar to those of bacterial DNA. This is much about the origin of life, but mind it that there goes another theory also. How life came into being, or how life came into the face of the earth, how life appeared in the earth. Up to now, we are discussing about the chemical evolution and then biological evolution. That means chemicals uh, uh, chemical reactions took place between different elements, and finally that formed the protobionts, etc. That is the chemical evolution of life. But there is another school of opinion also. Some space biologists believe that some meteorites frequently enter into the atmosphere of the earth, and those meteorites, in some of those meteorites, they found presence of amino acids and polynucleotides similar to DNA. And DNA found in meteorites were of chemical origin and had identical strands instead of complementary strands found in the DNA of organisms. The polynucleotides were found in Mighi meteorite and Murchison meteorite, which fell in Ukraine in 1889. So, a school of thought developed that postulates that life in simple form came into the earth from those meteorites, and here in earth they got an appropriate atmosphere to evolve into different organisms. যে সমস্ত উল্কাপিণ্ড এখানে বায়ুমণ্ডলে প্রবেশ করেছে সেগুলো বায়ুমণ্ডলের সঙ্গে ঘর্ষণে পুড়ে যায়, কিন্তু কিছু কিছু উল্কাপিণ্ড, ভেরি রিসেন্টলি একটা উল্কাপিণ্ড পড়েছে, তোমরা খবরের কাগজে হয়তো দেখেছো, এই বোধহয় এক মাসখানেকের মধ্যে। তো কিছু কিছু উল্কাপিণ্ড তাদের গতি কম থাকার জন্য হোক বা তাদের কম্পোজিশনের জন্য হোক, যে কোনো কারণেই হোক, বায়ুমণ্ডলের সঙ্গে সংঘর্ষেও তারা জ্বলে ওঠে না। সেই সমস্ত উল্কাপিণ্ড যখন পৃথিবীর বুকে নেমে আসে তখন তাদেরকে নিয়ে স্টাডি করা হয়। স্টাডি করলে দেখা গেছে যে ইউক্রেনে পতিত হওয়া ওইরকম উল্কাপিণ্ডের মধ্যে ওই সমস্ত কেমিক্যাল কম্পাউন্ডস পাওয়া যাচ্ছে। তার থেকে বিজ্ঞানীদের ধারণা, একটা স্কুল অফ থট, একদল মত পোষণ করেন যে পৃথিবীতে জীব এসছে, একেবারে সরল আকারে জীব এসছে এই সমস্ত মেটিওরাইটের মধ্য দিয়ে, এবং তারা এখানে একটা কনজেনিয়াল অ্যাটমসফিয়ার পেয়ে গেছে, এবং সেখানে তাদের দে ইভলভ ইন্টু ডিফারেন্ট স্পিসিস। তারা নানা রকম প্রজাতির সৃষ্টি করেছে, নানাভাবে ইভলিউশন হয়ে এটা একটা মত। সো দিস ইজ মাচ অ্যাবাউট আওয়ার origin of life, the first part of evolution, and in the next part we shall have to study the evidences of evolution.